I'm not sure if the gay conversion therapy problem came up during our discussions, but I know many women listening in many countries will be facing this, where transgenderists proponents are attempting to insert into law pro transgender laws under the guise of preventing and outlawing gay conversion therapy practices. And I think this is another one of those well, in some countries, for Australia, for example, gay conversion practices are not seen almost at all, or at least not registered as a problem in the society. But nonetheless, we've got laws coming. We have a law that's already come into one state, and we've got another law, a proposed law coming in my state of Victoria in Australia, where they're even attempting to hijack the family violence law to stop parents questioning their children who are coming into families, talking about being born in the wrong body and transgenderist kind of gender identity ideas, and stopping those parents from rebutting any of their children's claims in that regard. So yeah, this idea of language, I think, is absolutely right, that they're using language in an outright corrupt way to trick the population into passing laws that the population don't actually realise what their real aims are.
In Germany this year, we've had a law banning conversion therapy. And as in Australia, probably, it's ridiculous. Nobody does conversion therapies anyway. Nobody ever thought about it. It's piggybacking on these issues. And it is especially about children. And it's, of course, in preparation of a gender identity law, which is actually being debated in our parliament right now. On Monday, I think they had a large hearing about it. It was brought in by the opposition, so it's probably not going to be passed, but it demands self-ID from the age of 14 onwards. And so, and of course, with the self-ID, you get medical rights, which sounds good, but of course medical rights means full scope to doctors in handing out hormones and preparing for surgery. And the conversion therapy prohibition, of course, comes in nice preparation here, because now any doctor trying to get a child away from, or a teenager away from using hormones, could be covered by this kind of law. And in language, they are good. They covered the base that if you turn, for example, a gay boy into a heterosexual girl, yeah, but that is not conversion therapy, of course. They've even written that down in the law, so they're really up to date. And these conversion therapy laws, especially as soon as they mention children, are in preparation for self-ID and a full medicalization of youngsters.
I'm worried about the conversion therapy laws in the Netherlands as well, because it's also a proposed law, and they just hijacked the whole thing. We do have churches performing gay conversion therapy, but in the Netherlands, the gay organization COC is mentioned in the hoe noem je dat? Well, in the government pieces. Mijn Nederlands goed.
What do you want to? Shall I translate or?
In stukken, there's an investigation going on about gay conversion therapy, and what's striking the most is that the Dutch gay organization advised a gay man to become transgender so he would be more accepted. So this is the point where we are, and I think I'm really out of my mind because of this idiocy, because you expect a gay organization to support a gay man to be able to be gay in this world, and not to tell him to become transgender and heterosexual. So what do I want to say about that? Well, I think we should we should question ourselves. What is coming out of my mouth? What am I writing here? And be aware every time you write anything on this particular subject that you are not feeding the narcissists, not feeding the trans cult, that you are staying focused on how you want to be seen and what you think is normal. And I'm sorry if I offended anybody with psychiatric issues by saying that you should not engage with psychiatric patients, because I'm really meaning this kind of psychiatric patient and not the other ones.
We're trying to find answers and share ideas and support each other. And many of us are using other languages, our second or third or fourth languages, but also even for those of us English mother tongue, we don't always know exactly how to express things. So I think that's a nice discussion of sort of some people perhaps questioning what the words that Caroline used, but then Caroline coming back and explaining, and then we can build understanding like that and move forward and help each other.
I made a list of the LGB terminology that had been appropriated, for example, to out a transgender person coming out as transgender, which is all, of course, to, like Caroline said, piggyback on the gay liberation movement. And I included also conversion therapy, which I defined, which I think should be described as treatment for the mental disorder of believing one belongs to the opposite sex. And then we can keep conversion therapy for actual conversion therapy. And I think it would be interesting if we could make a list of these terms that, you know, the ones that I put in air quotes, which are not either meaningless terms or ideological terms, and see if we can kind of translate them, because they are coded language. For example, diversity and inclusion now means I like, my hair stands on end when I hear that, because now I know that that is going towards the exact opposite of what diversity and inclusion is. And all these new terms are coded language for something else. And it would be interesting to have kind of a dictionary, maybe set something up, a glossary with a translation, so that we help each other use regular language. And by the way, this issue of conversion therapy is something that when I speak to people who are not really aware of this issue, is something that really comes across when I say there are a lot of, especially young people and even children, who would grow up to be gay or lesbian, and who are turned straight, basically. And that really resonates with people. And then when you talk about, you know, the surgeries and the medication for life that often leads to infertility, I think the idea of eugenics becomes very clear. So I think it's something we really can talk about to make regular people who are not aware of the topic understand how huge this issue is.
First, I would like to say that in my country, Argentina, every 23 hours, a woman is murdered here. And the justice and the patriarchal system makes the reports that they had made in life only come to light when it's too late. And the situation with the pandemic aggravated the mental health situations, especially with regards to anxiety and depression. And that abortion is still illegal, so many women die from clandestine abortions, and many young girls are forced to give birth. At the same time, gender identity laws have been in place for years, and this year, in the midst of the quarantine, the transgender work quota law was passed. Regarding conversion therapy, I am very concerned that the free expression of personality as a professional is not respected, and that instead of focusing on society and how its mandates damage us and working to change it, we continue to perpetuate individualism, misogyny, and homophobia. I am very concerned about not being able to accompany any patient. I am seeing that instead of addressing it as in a humane and truly psychological way, people are being sent to get hormones, to use puberty blockers, and to have surgery.